President Trump has delayed his fake news awards until a week from Wednesday. But that doesn't mean we don't have to wait. We're going to hand out our own media awards tonight, and these are just from the last 2 days. We're going to recognize the work of such luminaries, Carl Bernstein and Mika Brzezinski. But our first award for, quote, lack of impartiality goes to an entire network, NBC. NBC called Oprah Winfrey our future president in a tweet last night on its official account. Then it took 14 hours to take the tweet down. Then NBC blamed some mysterious third party for posting the tweet. Yeah, we wouldn't want to get the impression the Peacock Network is rooting against President Trump or anything. So let's bring in Fox News host of Media Buzz, Howard Kurtz, in our Washington studio. So, Howard, this is like blaming the intern, except they're blaming a third party. I don't even know what that means. What's a third party?
I think we need a special prosecutor to find out who this mysterious third party is. Look, this was like a parody of a left-wing organization, particularly the Our President part. And the thing about it is, you know, what this suggests to me is the 14-hour delay. Either the NBC executives were up all night partying after the Golden Globes and were too out of it to do anything until noon, or they didn't realize there was anything wrong with the President Oprah tweet until they started getting some criticism in the press, Jesse.
Well, they've been getting a lot of bad press. I think the NBC franchise said that the Trump tax cut wasn't going to help workers. And then NBC, after the Trump tax cut passed, started giving out all $1,000 bonus checks to their workers for Christmas. So they haven't had a great track record over there at NBC. But you know what? That's who they are, and I think they're just in it for the money and the ratings. Let's get to
everybody else in television.
Of course not. Of course not. We don't care about the ratings at all. Let's get to our next award. Remember Carl Bernstein? He's the other Watergate reporter, the one whose career took a little bit of a different turn than Bob Woodward's. But some people still apparently want to hear what he has to say. And here's why he wins our Words Have No Meaning award. Roll it.
Yes, we're in a real constitutional crisis in an unprecedented place. How do we deal with this? Are we in a constitutional crisis, Speaker Ryan, Leader McConnell? We need to keep our heads down and just keep going after the story and stay calm about it and recognize we are in a constitutional crisis and we have a special responsibility.
Amen.
Did you get that? There's a constitutional crisis.
I kind of was getting that impression. Look, Carl Bernstein attacks President Trump just about every day or every week. I mean, he's called him a liar. He's called him worse than Nixon. He's talked about the malignant presidency. And, you know, he gets a lot of attention because there's a sort of the Watergate aura about what he says, and he actually worked on the original story about the unverified Russian dossier. The thing is, you know, to compare, even in the worst possible interpretation, to compare the allegations against President Trump and his associates in the Russia case to the scandal that made Bernstein famous is just a ludicrous stretch.
Okay. And if everything is a constitutional crisis, then nothing is. I think that's the fourth or fifth reference that he used. I think there was the Mueller firing was a constitutional crisis. A tweet was a constitutional crisis. Now the 25th Amendment, we're going to look at a constitutional crisis. We got it, Carl. We got it. All right. And last but not least, the Lack of Self-Awareness Award goes to MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski, who doesn't seem to realize that her friends' attitudes may just reveal something about her.
I had some friends that went to Paris over the holiday, and they said they were viscerally...
Paris, Texas, right?
Paris, France.
Oh, Paris, France.
And they said they were just viscerally embarrassed to be Americans. They said it was the first time that it was sort of chilling, that they didn't even want to share where they were from.
Okay, well, I don't think any American should be embarrassed in Paris, because if it wasn't for America, they'd all be speaking German.
Going for playing the World War II card. Look,
well, listen, I play that as much as possible.
Mika comes from a Democratic family. She does hang out with people who consider Donald Trump an embarrassment. She said much harsher things about him on Morning Joe, but it does come after a period of time when she and Joe Scarborough had a very bitter falling out with President Trump, with whom they had been friendly for years. And in fairness, President Trump has personally attacked Mika Brzezinski, low IQ, and all of that on Twitter. So I don't think there's any question that she is sharing her opinions, and I don't think you're shocked that she hangs out with people who don't hold Donald J. Trump in the highest regard, Jason.
It does showcase the kind of elitism. And I like Mika. I think she's talented, and I've watched that show a few times, and she's interesting, and she looks like fun. But to talk about your friends that are vacationing in Paris and they're ashamed to be Americans, I just don't know about the rest of the American audience when they see her talking like that, if they really even care to relate. I don't think they do.
It's like the foreign correspondents who say, I just interviewed the cab driver, and here's what he has to say about American politics.
No, it definitely doesn't come off as down to earth, I should say, but I don't think she really cares too much about appearing down to earth. Howie, thanks for joining us, and we're looking forward to next Wednesday's edition of the Fake News Awards.